Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to my follow-up video on my theory on how I would introduce Brainiac. And for those of you who remember, back in the last video that I did, I mentioned at the beginning that I was going to do a 3-part theory video focusing on 3 different scenarios on how I would introduce Brainiac into a Superman movie / Superman TV show. And for part 1, I did my theory on how I would introduce Brainiac into Superman 3, and for this video I am going to be talking about my theory on how I would introduce Brainiac into the Arrowverse. So let's get right into it, shall we? Ever since Superman was introduced into the Arrowverse back in Supergirl Season 2, most of Superman's villains have rarely ever been mentioned. We've seen Lex Luthor show up a bunch of times now, we've seen Metallo appear in a couple of episodes. We also got a little reference from the Legion of Superheroes that mentioned that Superman supposedly killed General Zod in the future. And in Crisis on Infinite Earths, Lois made a tiny little reference that Superman went toe-to-toe with Doomsday and actually defeated him. But we have had no mention of Brainiac whatsoever. The closest we got was Brainiac 5 mentioned he had an evil ancestor, but he never addressed him by name. That was the most we got. So for this video, I am going to talk about how I would introduce Brainiac into the Arrowverse, and how I would do that is I would have Brainiac show up in Superman and Lois. So I would have Brainiac as a time traveler, because we've seen Brainiac do time travel in the past. So I would have Brainiac show up from the future and basically say that his world was destroyed, but the truth is he really destroyed it, and he would try to recruit Superman to help him, air quotes, repopulate his world, but we know that Brainiac has destroyed his world. And Brainiac would have his own hidden agenda. He would want to basically destroy all of Earth Prime, steal all of the humans and creatures, and repopulate them on his world, Planet Cthulhu, what's left of it that is, and rework it in his own image. So I would have General Sam Lane somehow make contact with an alien craft. They find Brainiac, they bring him into custody, and Brainiac would only say, "I am not going to speak to anyone until I've seen the last Kryptonian," which is of course Superman. So Superman would go over to meet Brainiac and speak to him face to face and say, "I understand you wish to speak to me." Brainiac would lie and say, "My planet Cthulhu was destroyed and I'm looking for a new world. Will you help me?" And Superman, being the good guy that he is, but still very cautious, and say, "Well, how do I know I can trust you?" And Brainiac says, "I mean no harm. I am an artificial intelligence from the planet Cthulhu, and I have been programmed to repopulate worlds." And Superman could say, "Well, I need proof." So Brainiac says, "Well, you will have your proof." So I would have Brainiac take Superman into his craft and show him around and show all of these different creatures that he has collected. And he could say to Superman that while you've been living here on Krypton, I have been travelling all around the world, past, present and future, collecting some of the rarest creatures in the universe to try and create the ideal world so we could all live in peace. And Superman, of course, says, "Okay, I'll help you, but under one condition. If I find out you're lying, you know, there will be trouble." And then Brainiac could say, "Well, you have my word. I am a machine after all." And what could happen later on is Brainiac obviously turns and captures Superman and reveals to him that, "You fell for my trick, Superman. Now I have the last Kryptonian, I have all of the rarest creatures, and now I have a city as well." And this is where Brainiac could reveal to Superman that, "I once visited Krypton just before it was destroyed, and I stole the city of Kandor." And Superman could ask, "Why would you steal the city of Kandor?" And Brainiac could explain that, "Because I've been programmed to collect all sorts of living creatures. It was very important that a new world would need a city, and there's no greater and more powerful city than Kandor. And Superman would learn that there are still people living in that city of Kandor, and Superman could say, listen, I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. I'll help you find a new world if you give me the city of Kandor, because there's still my people in there, they're still very much alive, and I can give them a new world, and I'll give you a new world as well. How's that sound? And Brainiac obviously says no. He said, if I can't have a new world, then no one can. So you could also have Brainiac and Superman go at it. As always, as you know, you never truly destroy Brainiac, so obviously Superman would defeat him, but Brainiac would always find a way to come back. And how interesting would it be if Brainiac downloaded his conscious into Brainiac 5? So that could be an interesting way to get Superman into the final season for Supergirl Season 6. So Brainiac would be destroyed. Superman would keep the city of Kandor in the fortress until he can find a new world for them to live in. And Brainiac would download himself into Brainiac 5, because after all, even though they're not technically related as such, Brainiac is still the ancestor of Brainiac 5. So I would have Brainiac download himself into Brainiac 5, and Brainiac 5 is essentially the main villain, or at least for that portion of the show, for a couple of episodes. And Superman and Supergirl could work together to not only free all of the creatures that Brainiac has stolen from different worlds, but also free Brainiac 5 of his ancestors' evil influence. So I think that could be a cool way to introduce Brainiac into the Arrowverse as a mysterious time traveller, but he's also secretly going around collecting all of the knowledge and destroying all of them, but also capturing some of the rarest creatures in the universe. And there you have it, guys. That's my theory on how I would introduce Brainiac into the Arrowverse. So I'm going to wrap this up now. How would you bring Brainiac into the Arrowverse? Would you do it like this? Would you have Brainiac as a time traveller who goes around collecting knowledge and stealing some of the rarest creatures in the world? Or would you introduce him into the Arrowverse in a different way? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will be back next time for part 3, which is going to be my theory on how I would introduce Brainiac into the DC Extended Universe. So until next time, take care everybody, and stay safe, and once again, thanks for listening.